Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, this is our brand new show called Marriage Dynamics, and I am your host Faizel Joosab, and welcome to one and all. Alhamdulillah, like the name says, Marriage Dynamics, obviously it's about marriage. And since we are marriage counselors, counseling therapists, we actually bring our expertise and our vast knowledge to this platform for the benefit of the community and for the benefit of largely couples out there in distress. So maybe perchance we can say something or perhaps some advice that is transmitted today and in the future, inshallah, that will help and benefit people. Like I said, so I think you know my co-host and my wife, my colleague and the charm of my life, Misabah Joosab. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Misabah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm still very excited. This is our second episode, but are you as excited as I am?
Yeah, we're very excited to start this new journey and discuss issues that affects community and affects lots of couples and marriages.
Alhamdulillah. In the first episode, we did discuss counseling, and we introduced ourselves as counseling therapists. And then we spoke about something very important, effective communication, which is part and parcel of marriage. You cannot be married without communication skills. But today we're going to discuss something equally, if not more important, conflict management. Now, conflict, as we all know, is arguments, disagreements, all kinds of squabbles as such. Now, that happens. I mean, it's a normal part of marriage. But when we got married, Misabah, did we ever believe that we are going to argue? I can say no. I thought you're going to agree with me 100%, and you probably thought that I am this knight in shining armor, which I am,
Okay.
nonetheless. But as a married couple, I think we've gone through this, and we do understand that everybody argues. I mean, mom and dad argued. We argued with our siblings, we argued with our best friends. So naturally we are going to argue with each other. And since couples are very close, I mean, we are close, we are garments for each other, and we're going to argue because you don't have the same opinion I have, and nobody is going to get it 100% right all the time. You can't do it perfectly every time. So spouses argue because we are close. But couples that disagree all the time have an issue, because at every time you are cracking the trust, you're cracking the bond, you're cracking the love. So at first what you have to do is agree to disagree. That means you having a different opinion to me, my opinion not being similar to yours is okay, because happy and successful couples, alhamdulillah, which we treat, which we educate, which we work with day in, day out, those couples don't let arguments escalate to real debacles. I mean, where you really hurt each other's feelings. I mean, consistently these couples keep it as a debate, because as a debate you don't say harsh things. You don't let it escalate to a conflict where you hurt a person's feelings. You hurt your wife's feelings, you hurt your husband's feelings, because the danger always is anger. And anger, being angry all the time, arguing all the time, hearts are going to break. And you know, we marry each other and it's hearts that are combined. Harsh words, they're going to crack anybody's self-esteem, they're going to crack anything, and that unfortunately happens. We say things we don't mean. And then comes the bad part, which we try our best not to go towards. We always pull people away. Divorce. That's what divorce naturally has to ensue. So unresolved conflict is what we're going to talk about today, discuss today, and how to manage it better. Misbah, what do you think?
I think conflict is good because it helps relationships to grow. When you're fighting or when you are in conflict or differences of opinions, it helps you to learn about your spouse, and discussing it dispels a lot of your unconscious perceptions about your marriage, about your life, and about the way your spouse thinks as well.
Interesting, dispelling the perceptions. But you think your spouse thinks like you. That's the perception I think you spoke about, that dispels that unreal expectation. So understanding them, but you have to learn. You have to learn through these conflicts. That's what I think you're trying to say, and change your perspective, because marriage is growth. Marriage is a situation where we grow, we get to know each other more intimately every day. And who you're living with, you have to know. But the problem is frustration. You know, daily lives are so hectic. I mean, we have a lot to fight out there. There's a lot of issues out there. But when we are frustrated and we lash out at each other for whatever reason and say mean things, it comes from a perceived inequity, in an unrealistic expectation, like you said, those things that we need to dispel. So these things really cause a problem, don't they?
You know, another problem is couples who avoid conflict. Means they could be disconnected, mean they don't bother with each other. Now, if they repress their feelings and if they repress their emotions, it might explode sooner or later, and that will bring a lot of trauma in a relationship.
Yes, as a husband and wife team, we do see two clients on a daily basis, and what we try to resolve is the chronic fighting. And like you say, you know what, they need to solve these things, but if you don't have the tools, you don't know how to manage it, because unresolved past issues that have not been reframed, reconciled, they kind of make you disrespect your spouse. And marriage starts turning into a war of wills, that I want to assert myself over you and you're going to listen to me and you're going to obey me. But what happens to a wife if she tries to talk to her husband and she says, listen, I want to talk to you, we're having so many issues, we're fighting nonstop, please don't, let's start to get along, I want to talk to you. And he turns around and says, you know what, you're looking for a fight again, please just leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to fight with you. What happens to her?
You know, she'll be very sad. It will start to affect her emotionally, and eventually she'll lose hope in her marriage. Intimate couple, and they are committed to harmony, yet they fight. And when they fight, they say such harsh, mean, or nasty things to each other. Why do you think they do that?
It's amazing how two people who love each other and who have bonded, and they just forget all the positives in the marriage and just lash out. They care about one another, but they just can't control the lashing and the disrespect, because I think what they really are annoyed with is the disrespect that they've received, and they don't want to be disrespected anymore, they don't want to be a pushover anymore, but that reaction is sometimes inappropriate. Now sometimes your wife could have said something and you can fly off the handle, his husband can suggest something, you can fly off the handle. So this misunderstanding has to be somehow spoken about. You have to sit down and say, why did you get so angry? Because the response has to be appropriate. So it's better to respond, not react. And happy couples don't avoid conflict. Happy couples manage conflict with respect. Why are you angry, Misbah? Have I done something wrong? They manage with curiosity. Have I done something wrong? With boundaries. Please don't be angry with me. Yeah, I'm not angry with you. I just want to find out what you're upset about. Because it's nothing to do with arguments. It's just that we don't want to argue, Misbah.
You know, don't make it personal. Anybody will be hurt if you'll attack their character, their competence, or even their family. You need to stay focused on the main issue, because if you'll make me understand, I'll understand it better without anger. All of this might bring, as I said, trauma, and trauma is like a scorecard we keep. So in the next fight or in the next argument, I want to top your bad behavior, and like this, nobody will be happy, and nobody wants to be transgressed upon.
True. So the anger issue is how we need to follow it up now. So how do we follow up when we're angry and all that? We have to follow the sunnah. Sunnah has to be followed. In other words, we have to stay calm. So if you're angry, I stay calm. If I'm angry, you stay calm, because you don't want to be right and hurt the other person's feeling. This is off the bat, we must understand. That is our intention. That I don't want to hurt your feelings, because making you feel bad is not going to make me feel good. Winning the argument is not going to help. Winning the debate and losing you is not going to be good. I need to make a decision. Do I want to be happy or do I want to be right? Now, serious issues that have to be discussed on a regular basis is like finances, especially like budgets. Now, let's say, for instance, I come to you and I say to you, Misbah, I've decided I'm cutting down the budget by $2,000 because we need to save to buy a house, we need to upgrade our car, we need to go for Umrah, Hajj, things are bad at the moment. So when I'm going to speak to you like that, how would you take it?
As a woman, it will be a bit disturbing, because I would think, why are you cutting my budget? And if you make me understand better about your intentions, about what's your goal, what's your intention about cutting your budget, cutting down my expenses.
Well, obviously my intention is not to fight and to find a compromise where we both agree. But because I told you all of that, I don't also want you to call me a dictator now. I don't want you to call me a miser.
Ungrateful, maybe?
No, not that either. So as a couple, we need to get along. As husband and wife, we need to get along. So we need to see each other in that way. In offices as well, we need to see each other in a certain way that we transcend that kind of compromise with our clients as well. And there are other difficult topics that inshallah we're going to talk about, but what we're talking about today is what we see in our offices all the time, and the one thing we must never do is insult and offend one another. But what we have to do right now is take an ad break, and inshallah after we take this ad break, we're going to consider all the other difficult topics and definitely how to handle these difficult topics, and then obviously your famous toolkit, inshallah. So looking forward to the next segment, inshallah. And viewers, I hope we have kept you enthralled for the last few minutes as well, because I'm really very interested in where we're going with this conversation. So please stay tuned for the next segment, and inshallah we'll be back after this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Marriage Dynamics. This is our show about marriage. I'm your host, Faizel Joosab, and I'm a marriage counselor, a marital therapist, a counseling therapist. And with me in studio is my wife, Misabah Joosab, who's also my colleague, my wife, my charm of my life. But we've been discussing something very essential and very pertinent to marriages today, which is conflict management. Before the break, we were talking about how we need to manage serious topics, and alhamdulillah, we were getting some leeway there. So before we went for the break, we spoke about the budget. Another very important topic, Misbah, will be the topic of parenting. Now, I come from a parenting background, you come from a parenting background, we have kids. So obviously now I'd like to now bring up my kids in a certain way, and so would you.
Yeah, but I am their mother. At the end of the day, they'll honor me 3 times more than you.
Well said. The ulama do tell us that we have to honor our mother 3 times before our father. But in saying that, they will listen to you, but you have to listen to me. So what I'm asking is, if perhaps you can consult with me before we make major decisions. Look, you have certain type of autonomy as far as their diet is concerned, and I think mommy knows best. I mean, look, you love them a lot, right? But if you have to listen to me in terms of like where we have to make major decisions as far as education is concerned, we can't micromanage ourselves, or where I'll tell you what to do and you're telling me what to do, but I'll back you up. So when you have to give them an instruction and they're going a bit wayward, as it is with kids, then I'll be there to speak with one voice. That means we be in unison. So it's very important for us to sit down and work out how we're going to raise our kids together. This is a very explosive topic, because I want my kids to be brought up how my mother brought me up. So that we need to sit down and talk about.
Another issue that couples fight a lot about is families and boundaries within families.
In-laws and outlaws situation, and many managers have gone through a lot of issues, a lot of trauma. We see this in our offices as marriage consultants. We do find that these are things we have to overcome. But it's a very simple rule: communicate, set those boundaries together, but please be fair. Gentle, humble, fair. That means Eid, weekly suppers, functions, has to go fair. That means you and me have to speak about it, that how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that. And again, I'm repeating myself, please be fair. See, unresolved conflict is very destructive. If we're going to leave it like that and sweep it under the carpet without reconciling it, without reframing it, without growing from it, it's going to break hearts. It's going to create all kinds of miscommunication. It's going to bring isolation, despondency, and it's very dangerous, because unfortunately it brings along a lot of problems. But now, without further ado, let's bring out your famous toolkit now.
Yes, the second segment about toolkits, where we teach people and we give them tips and tools about the topic. And today we're teaching them how to fight and how not to fight. So it is basically rules of conflict, rules of fighting. And the first thing in the toolbox, negative trait, is criticism. And it escalates the conflict to a combat level. What do you think how we should fight? How we mustn't belittle our spouse?
Well, like you say, criticism is a poison. It's something that you have to take personally, because it is a personal attack. And even the person is trying to give you constructive criticism, You have to be responsive, you have to be receptive. So finding a fault in somebody is not a nice thing. You have to be very careful how you judge them. And when you judge your spouse on a daily basis, on a harsh level, it's going to cause a problem in the marriage.
Another don't rule of a fight is contempt. It's destructive. What do you think?
Contempt is such a bad state to be in. It's like a house whose roof is on fire, because you belittle the person at every opportunity. And unfortunately, marriages that usually go that far, they have to seek out professional help, because if you're starting to hate your spouse, then you're just in it just for the sake of being in your marriage. And that's not healthy. I think that's a very unhealthy place to be.
Another negative trait that people bring a lot is a defensive attitude.
A defensive attitude is when you attack me or you criticize me and I don't hear what you're talking about. For instance, now talk about the subject. Like let's say, for instance, I was late. Why were you late? You shouldn't have been late. Oh, you're always doing this all the time. Oh, why did you do this? And I have to always wait for you. You know how much problems you're causing for me. Now, that makes me defensive. And then I'll say, what you mean? You're doing nothing at home. And then it escalates into a conflict.
In a conflict or after a conflict, a lot of people go to stonewalling.
Stonewalling, you need professional help, because we see them on a daily basis where they have not talking for days, weeks, months, even years. They live in separate bedrooms. Stonewalling meaning passive aggression, where you don't want to talk to the person because the last time you spoke to them, it was a huge fight, and unfortunately it didn't work out nicely. So, you know what, I don't want to talk to the person. You can't two people live in the house and not talk to each other.
We don't fight how we're supposed to fight, like we're discussing rules of fighting. A lot of couples, they bring up old trauma in a fight.
Unfortunately, old trauma is like a scar that we're constantly aware of. But when we have an issue, we must stick to the issue. We mustn't go to old traumas. Like, for instance, if I did something wrong, then you have to tell me what I did wrong so I can learn from it. But if you're going to attach it to something that happened 10 years ago that you still haven't gotten over, I can respect your emotions. But that's not the time to talk about it, because it confuses the message. I need to hear your message. I need to not repeat what I did wrong.
Yeah, and in that situation, what happens is we forget all the positive and positive memories that we made and good things, and we only want to bring negative issues about that person.
Yes, and it kind of escalates because there's really hurtful things that are said. For instance, now a man will say to his wife, you know what, it's my house, it's my roof, get out of my house, go back to your father. Or she'll say, I'm packing up and leaving, I want a divorce, I'm taking the kids, I'm going to phone my father, he's coming for you, I want to take a second wife. These are not good things, these are negative things that cause trauma.
You know, everybody has difference of opinions. How can we bring up our differences without offending our spouse?
We must not assassinate each other's characters. Remember, we love one another, but I can't bring up your family in a negative way. Oh, your brother's like this, and your father's like that, and your mother's like this. And I should never ever question your abilities. Now, as a man, I'm speaking that I mustn't question your cooking, your motherly instincts, your wifely instincts. If you're doing something wrong, it's in my ability to help you, to correct you, to build you. But I mustn't break you down by assassinating your character and hurting you. That's just not on.
Another negative trait is about winning. Who won the fight?
I'm sorry, that's ego. And you're either going to live with your ego or your wife or your husband. If you have an ego, you're going to win every fight. You know what? You're not going to be a lonely person. Nobody should win every fight. It's about going together forward. So if you want to fight, you can't win every argument. You have to now compromise and celebrate that you have come forward as such.
I think we have discussed enough negative traits. Let's go back to positivity and the rules of fighting and do's of fighting. Now, we discussed we can't avoid fighting, but then how should we fight?
Fight fair. I know I'm repeating myself. Fight fair with respect. Remember, tone of voice is very important. I'm going to shout at you. You're not going to hear what I said, but you're going to hear the tone. If you're going to shout at me, I'm not going to hear what's your feelings, your emotions. We have to keep our tone respectful. It's very important.
We discussed old traumas. People bring up old traumas in a fight, in a conflict. But a lot of time when two people are together, there are a lot of current issues that you need to discuss.
Current issues should be discussed without emotion. We must not now talk about people in a sense that, oh, we are carrying all that baggage. Let's talk about what happened today, what you want to talk about today. Don't attach it to now, I can never forgive you for what happened, all that. It just confuses everything. It just makes things a real jumble sale.
So if the fight has escalated to a combative level, how should we diffuse the situation?
Humility, gentility, maaf. You know, if Allah Pak can make all our gunas maaf, surely we can ask each other for maaf. Now, I know you're angry with me. We had a difficult conversation, and I say to you, please, Misbah, make me maaf. It was not my intention to hurt you or affect you in a negative way. I just wanted us to talk about this, and it was a difficult topic, but I'm asking for maaf. You know I love you. I don't want to offend you.
A lot of couples object to one issue, that why should I always initiate after a fight?
Well, it's very important for you to initiate that maaf, because you need to celebrate, you need to understand that you went forward. You need to make shukr for that. So when you make maaf, you're becoming the better person.
So when you ask for maaf and we say that, okay, you should always apologize, a lot of wives and a lot of, sometimes husband too, they come to us and say, what about the other person taking responsibility if it's their mistake, and when they're going to change?
You make a commitment, please, I'd like to change, help me, but please make me maaf for my shortcomings. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying.
Now we discuss this point a lot, that's agree to disagree. But how a person or a spouse can bring their spouse on their team, how they can make them see their point of view?
Be calm, make shukr. Be calm and compliment the person. Thank you so much for staying calm. Thank you so much for hearing me out. When you're going to be like that and not get angry, then that's going to be a very big thing.
I think another positive trait is encouraging. How should a spouse encourage husband encourage his wife, or husband encourage his wife?
He should encourage her by always staying calm, not getting angry. Anger destroys marriages. And if you can, only use a very important thing, your ear.
My ears.
Yes.
Okay.
E, empathy. Understand where your spouse is coming from. A, meaning attention. Give them the undivided attention they deserve. And R, respect. Respect somebody for who they are, and respect them for how much they've brought into your lives. So, with that, I think we've come to the end of the show. Alhamdulillah, it was brilliant talking to Misbah, and until our next show, I'm eagerly looking forward to it. So, viewers, it was an amazing, amazing journey, and Alhamdulillah, I am very, very invigorated for the next show. And inshallah, if you have any questions, please, we have our WhatsApp number at the bottom there. You can see it, and please send us all your questions and all your issues if we can be of any service to you. Remember, we are marital therapists, and until next time with another show, please, we look forward to seeing you again. So for myself, Faizel C. Joosab, and my amazing wife and colleague, Misbah Joosab, till the next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.